So a few words about us. I'm Ed Sincora with Tool Room Solutions. I'm old enough to be Mark's father, so that picture is very old. My bride told me yesterday we looked like we were the same age. That's not the case. I came into tool grinding from outside the industry in '97, and I remember sitting across the desk from Ditmar Westland at Walter at Grinders, and he was showing me an end mill, and I referred to it as a drill. So I'm going to let Mark do most of the talking today. So Mark, take it away. Oh, hang on, Mark. We muted you.
Okay. So now.
There we go. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks, Ed, and yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Mark. I'm 37 years old, CEO of Premex, and I've been with the company for 22 years. I started my career at Premex as a student employee. In 2009, I completed my traineeship and then worked for 4 years as an office clerk while studying in parallel at the Chamber of Commerce. Later, I was given the opportunity to rebuild and establish our sales department and was granted procurement rotation. In 2020, I was appointed as one of 3 new CEOs. Since then, we've guided Premex through some challenging years, always confident in our strength and in our long-term strategy. Okay, here is a brief overview of what we'll cover today. We would like to talk about many impacts of an OD grinding shop, and we start with one of the major impacts, employees. Then we talk about machines. Later we talk about QC. Then we came to sourcing and storing raw materials, production planning, and Q&As. Employees, our first topic of today. People are the foundation of everything we do. Machines and processes are critical, but without the right people, none of it works. Especially in our market, where the suppliers of materials are limited and the suppliers of machines are limited, it's really a lot up to having good employees around yourself. We recommend a dual training approach for new employees, and we are experienced very positive with young professionals, even when there are more effort, especially in the first months given, but at the end we build up really strong retentions and collaborations. Next, an in-house training is one part of the dual training we focus. It's about 3 to 4 days a week within the company, straight on the machines, with a lot of, let's say, direct practical impact. And finally, we look very deeply that our people gain a lot of work experience by doing. Next to the in-house training, it is about vocational school. We recommend to do this 1 or 2 days a week, or finally it's up to the system we follow in Germany. but it's well balanced, and it's definitely a good additional training. At the vocational school, the young professionals learn things around the, let's say, the company they are working for, which we think is very important to have a complete picture of the industry you are working in.
I'm sorry, Mark, just by around, you mean basically outside your company. You're talking about people learning about the industry in general and how things interconnect.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. So even with the structure training system in place, it takes about 3 years to develop a fully qualified grinding operator, in our opinion, because it's up to do finally a lot of specials like OD thread grinding, eccentric contours, or other complex geometries on peel grinding machines, which requires a lot of experience and repetition. Before Ed talks about Rollomatics in-person training, I'd like to add one comment. For several years, we've been using the Rollomatic Learning Center as an additional training resource for our grinding operators. I can strongly recommend the software training additionally to your typical program.
Well, thanks, Mark. Yeah, I do want to talk a bit about what the machine tool builders offer. That understandably is going to be one of your sort of first choices, if you will, for training. Although arguably, toward the end of the process as you're getting somebody up and running. All the major machine tool builders offer more or less good training. Rollomatic is an excellent example of that, as shown here. This is the opening screen of their online training. Dennis, next, if you would. This is just one set of courses that they offer online, specifically their setup courses. And you'll see the one that they offer for their OD machines on the lower left there. And as they explained it to me, the COVID-19 pandemic, as was the case with a lot of companies, offered up sort of lots of time among their applications engineer to develop these courses. So they're full courses. They're not just videos. They have specific goals, exams, certificates for those people who pass. They cover topics like programming, machine setup, as you see here, maintenance. And as Joe Kane, the CEO of Rollomatic, put it, they're really good enough that even if you have an experienced hand, he's probably going to pick up a thing or two. And they're free for customers. Dennis, if you would, next slide. Rollomatic, as is the case with the other builders, also offers in-person on-machine training. In the case of Rollomatic, they've got 2 tiers of this. They've got a set of what they consider standard courses. They offer them at Rollomatic. In those courses, they provide the wheels and the part you're going to be grinding. They run from 1 to 4 days, again, at Rollomatic at their facility near Chicago. And they're not free, but they're lower cost than customized training. And then the second tier that they offer for on-machine training are customized training that they set up in coordination with you. They develop a syllabus, a set of goals. So there are mutually agreed to criteria for what you're going to achieve. And Joe tells me that basically customers are fully satisfied with this. Even though they're not free, they definitely feel they're getting payback on their investment. In the case of Rollomatic, and I think this is true for the other OEMs, Joe said the ideal would be that your team comes for training during the week the machine is shipping. Then you would get another week when after that week when the machine is delivered and installed. And then 2 to 3 months later, they'd come back and do training in your facility. And in his mind, that's the ideal approach to training. Having said that, he said, in my own experience with Walter over the years, and I think most of the machine tool builders would say that training at the machine tool builder as a general rule is the way you want to go, because you don't have distractions. You've got full machine time. You're not competing with production. And that is the ideal. Rolomatic told me they're roughly 50%. So they're definitely not 100, but they're better than none. So again, Anka, Reinecker, United Grinding, they offer similar combinations of training. All right, Dennis, if you would, next one. Now this aligns with what Mark was saying about outside sources and getting your people outside the factory to get broader industry perspective. Let's start with online options. So here's what most people consider the Cadillac in North America, Tooling U, which is in conjunction with SME, the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. They have literally over 500 courses. The pricing is something I really can't even get into. You'd have to contact them. They're not free, but they're definitely sort of, college level or community college level courses with syllabi, with tests, certifications that are industry recognized. The example I have up here is just one of their cylindrical grinder courses, and on and on and on. You really ought to check that out. Now, a free option online is what Titans of CNC is offering for grinding. And I personally haven't spent a lot of time on it, but it does look like they've put a fair amount of work into this over the last year or two. And these are free. So that's another thing you should check out. Now, we don't have the kind of program they have in Europe with lots and lots of programs all over the place and a internship program that's very commonly applied. But we do have much more of it now in North America than we used to. The particular example you see on the screen happens to be one of the several that are in Virginia, where I am. It's run by a former executive of Kyocera SGS. So he's definitely somebody from the industry who's doing what he can to improve in education here in this area. And there's lots of these kind of folks now. And you see that gentleman there on a milling machine, that's literally at the Institute. So again, they offer on-machine training plus classroom training. And there are lots and lots of these facilities now around the country. So you need to look into that. Last on my area, Dennis, the National Institute of Metalworking Skills is perhaps where you should start, at least if you have any questions about how to set up a training program, because that's what they're all about. The gentleman you see there, Montez King, runs NIMS. He started as a machinist at the tender age of 17. He has a very practical sense of what the real world needs. And he can help you organize a training program, set up your certificate program, list industry recognized validations for all of that. And it's a great way to both encourage better education in your company, but also retention, because people really feel like they're becoming professionals that are industry recognized. And before I turn it back over to Mark, I want to say I've got links to all of this in the resources section of our website to get you started. All right, back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Ed. Now we came to a point about hiring people. Basically, it's like that a regional advantage can play an important role in attracting skilled employees, which is fortunately given in our area. However, even in the region with very few grinding companies, success is still possible. The key is to focus on the core attributes of a good grinder and to identify professions with similar skill set. A good example is an automotive mechanic. Strong technical background, experience with electronic and software, and the daily exposure to unexpected challenges which are given day by day in our business.
Yeah, Mark, if I can, you said something interesting in that regard. At one point in their history, Premix was hiring lots of people from the turning industry. And although they were CNC operators and machine tool guys, if you will, so you would think they'd be a natural fit. What they found is because in the machine tool business with the very long production runs, they weren't actually all that adept at doing lots of changeovers. So what Premix found is you're better off with somebody like coming out of automotive or some other field where they're used to unexpected challenges and lots of changes and so forth, rather than and who has that kind of mechanical and if you will attitudinal flexibility. You're better off with that than you are with somebody who's kind of he knows how to run a CNC, but he isn't that flexible.
Yeah, in our experience, definitely. We try, meanwhile, during the hiring process to get a feeling about the motivation of the new employee and not just looking of the skill set. Okay, next slide is employee retention is critical for maintaining experience and workflow stability. Sometimes I observe conversations between two highly experienced colleagues. The fewer words they need to exchange, the more efficient their communication becomes. That efficiency reflects true expertise. People are clearly the most important ingredient for success, even through we engineers sometimes tend to focus first on equipment and processes. So now we are coming to the second topic of today. We would like to talk about machines. But before we talk more in detail about each machine, getting the right cooling system is also a critical and very important factor. And even in grinding, choosing the right cooling system makes a significant difference. With a central coolant system, every machine operators has the same environment, and oil pressure and temperature are similar, which brings stability and flexibility to your facility. Here you can see a floor plan of let's say a random grinding shop, and efficiency starts with a well-designed floor plan and work floor. Next. In case you use a central filter system, you can put the machine's best way within the space you have to get out the most efficiency for your processes. Yeah. And depending on the machines you use, it's up to the location you set finally. In this example, you can see that some of the machines are working with a oil system. This is the yellow tubes you can see, and others running with emulsion system. To combine both or to put both next to each other helps finally to be fast with the workflow. In this example, you can see that everything starts at a stock with the pick of raw material, then it runs to the cut to length and chamfering. Depending on the order, when we start by raw material, it's up to the centerless grinding, and maybe when needed, grinding like Weldon or other specials on machines which are supported by oil. Finally, you get out the fixed length in this stage of the production, which you need.
I'll bring in. You had a dose. Needs another one later tonight. It'll be in the fridge, and there's a line on the syringe.
Next. Next slide. Always select the best machine you can and upgrade when you can. We are very experienced with Volumatic machines. It was the first choice we did back in the days, 2001. And up to now, this is our main machine supplier. Basically, I follow a clear guided principle. We are grinders and not machine builders or service engineers. So our goal and our knowledge is about grinding, and we select our machines based on that factor that all topics around should be managed by the partner, by our suppliers. Both in private life and in business, too many partners can create unnecessary complexity. In this case, less is more. So we recommend to work with fewer well-selected partners instead of having a lot of different machines within your shop floor. And same applies to equipment such as grinding wheels. In case of grinding wheels, we learned that it makes absolutely sense trying to combine most of your requirements of your orders with the similar or same grinding wheel suppliers to ensure same quality, same performance, and finally same efficiency.
I'm sorry, Mark. I want to interrupt you for a second. Wouldn't it be fair to say, both in terms of the machine tools and things like grinding wheels, that price is rather low in your priority? Your top priority is the expertise of the supplier, the partnership you get, the quality, and things like price and delivery are minor considerations for you.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. First and our major point is reliability. We need to have reliable suppliers for all of our needs. And as once again, out of this well-selected suppliers and long-term relationships, we are finally able to bring the performance to the street. So that's what focus we have.
Right. So your basic philosophy is go ahead and pay top dollar if that's what it means. Go ahead and wait a year for a machine if that's what it means. But concentrate on those few people who really deliver the best solution that you're not going to have to worry about. You don't want to be a super technician on your machines to have to worry about maintenance and so forth. I mean, you want a reliable machine with a reliable partner.
Yeah.
Same with wheels, etc.
Especially in today's global business, you get offers from machine builders from Far East, which are cheap, attracting in case of pricing. But finally, when the machine doesn't run in your grinding shop, you will lose. That's definitely not a good decision.
Right. By the way, I meant to say that in training, where Joe mentioned to me that customers don't mind paying for training, because if the operator crashes the machine, the spindle will, more than pay for any training they would have given the operator. So same concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So next, to get the audience a chance to see our shop floor and how we selected the machines and put it into our facility, Dennis will guide you through our latest virtual tour. And we will start immediately. Just a moment.
So yes, also hello from my side. My name is Dennis Rosa, and I'm in charge for sales and marketing at the Premex company, and will show you, or will guide you through our virtual tour to show you how we did set up our shop floor. So here we are right in front of our Cardex storage machines. Here we stock different kind of carbide from different kind of well-selected partners in a different kind of crates in a range of diameters 0.5 millimeters up to 40 millimeters. With different kind of coolant, straight, twisted, lateral exits, and whatever your wishes are. The first production step is after the warehouse is our cut to length department. Here we have different kind of machines to produce the finished tool design or the finished tool length, and in the next step we have our cut to length machines to machine the different kind of chamfers. The second production step is next to our small flat grinding shop, where we are able to machine square and flat bars. Our centerless department next to our special CNC machines on the right side. But first I would like to take a closer look at our centerless grinding machines. Here we are able to grind the unground blanks to grind blanks with a tolerance of H5 or H6, even also some carbide fixed lengths with a good runout specification. Next to these machines, we have installed our special CNC machines. These machines we are using for weld-on clamping faces or whistle notches, or as you can see on the right picture, some slots in the shank for additional cooling. Then you have here something like an overview over the production hall, the cut to length and chamfering department. Behind this wall are the Cardex storage machines. And then we can jump to the second facility. So now we are here in our first grinding shop floor, the Ulmer Reinecker machine floor. Here we have in total 9 machines, which we are using for the bigger diameters, beginning at diameter 12 and ending for standards in diameter 12. In addition, we have the possibility to clamp between tips and grinding preforms on these machines, or all special tool designs, as you can see it here in these pictures. Yeah. Here we are in front of our Anker CPX machine. These machines we are using for power skiving parts. And next to them are a few more Reinecker SF40 machines. Now we are in our second grinding department, our Rolomatic and special machine department. Here on these machines, we have the possibility to machine very, very special technical variants. For example, in this case, you can see some blanks for the knife industry, or second one, some micro hops for the watch industry, for example. Now you can see our Rolomatic machines. These machines are in charge for all the small diameters, beginning at the diameter range at 0.5, 0.6, and end with a diameter of 12. And here we machine OD threads or different kind of tool designs, upcoming customer requirements. So, and the last step in our production line is our quality department. Here we are working mainly with 2 Vision devices, and with the help of these machines, we are able to control all tolerances and stuff we have to document at the end of our production line. So
if I could summarize that for our customers here, many of whom probably won't end up in a situation in which they have, for example, a lot of 5-axis machines to do special weld and notches and things, and maybe they don't, and they probably wouldn't ever have this kind of volume of machines. But I think the message here is you want a logical flow. You want a floor plan that allows the parts to move logically through your production. And I think we'll circle back to it in the Q&A, this issue of central coolant and central mist extraction versus standalone issues, and why you went the way you did and what the advantages are. All right.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Now we came to the next point of our agenda, quality management. Quality management should be a key resource in every industrial company. In the magic triangle of, let's say, sales, price, and lead time. Sales is price, lead time, and quality, sorry. Quality is always part of the customer decisions. Price and lead time are often discussed, but quality is something like a fixum, even when nobody is talking about. For us, it's the most important fact of our workflow and this is a thing you can handle 100% within your management. Other things like prices and lead times are often driven by more factors like out of your box, as you can see currently with this APT story or other things which came from outside. But quality is the thing, point everybody can handle in-house. If we have the choice to have a few to the best grinder, it would be a person who can grind perfectly and same time is something like a quality manager in one person. We try to educate our grinders to be same, to be both, by giving them responsibility to the entire process, starting from programming the machine, grinding the parts, and measuring the parts. That's one of the reasons we said before to need approximately 3 years to build or to educate somebody at this stage or to this stage.
Right, and the flip side of that is that you figure that's also why you have such good retention.
Yeah,
because the folks feel they have a very interesting job with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. So in addition to the operator self-inspection, clear interfaces must be defined for critical parts involving the quality department and final inspection. These interfaces should be defined by the work preparation, I mean very early in the processing, in coordination with the quality manager. For contractually critical quality requirements, quality management must be involved very, very early in each project. For example, missing dimension tolerances on drawings, so wrong material references or something else could stop or slow down a project when you not talk very early about all quality facts. And in my personal view, certificates alone is not sufficient to convince customers of your quality standards. We are really open and we are friends of third-party audits, I mean customer audits, because this is something which builds very, very positive collaborations afterwards. Finally, when your customer have visited your company and seeing what you're able to do and how you processing, a lot of questions around a collaboration could be solved very, very easily in our experience. What we learned, meanwhile, is that a communication with your customer after the sale is an important way of the daily business development. Here, it's necessary that the sales work closely to the quality and transmit the feedback from the customer directly into the company or to the correct responsibility persons. Now we came to the next point of our agenda. We're talking about sourcing and storing materials, especially in today's carbide market, material availability is one of the biggest competitive advantage. Key questions included like which material should be stocked, at what stage of the value chain, and how does capital availability affect these decisions. Starting with which material should be stocked. Next one. Same like with the machines, we recommend to select well your carbide manufacturers. In our case, we work with the companies you can see on the screen, and here once again, it's up to having the best partners by hand to do finally what you are what your company is about. In your case, it's tooling. In our case, it's grinding step lengths. Our material strategy is to be very available by having not just materials in standards, by sourcing according to the needs we have. And this could be that our distribution is not up to standards. It could be as well fixed length or other dimensions, which helps finally to be fast in case of lead times. And here, with the next slide, we go deeper in this topic, because it's a very interesting question, what kind of materials you should stock and what kind of materials and dimensions makes most sense. For sure, the highest availability in the market are given for 330 millimeter blanks, and most of the tools are out of these blanks. But for several reasons, depending on your tool design, it makes sense to overthink and move to fixed length or already pre-grind parts.
Right, but before we leave this topic, Mark, your basic point is similar to the machine tools. You should pick a high quality supplier, and because they're not going to be stocking, 50 tons like you do, they should probably just pick one or two, so they have cost competitiveness, so they can drive the best price that they can. And then they should look at what they're producing, and if they can, stock some fixed length for what they produce to save time and make themselves more efficient on those jobs. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, story came to my mind. For instance, a couple of years ago, we started in medicine industry, and within the first project, one of our the first customer required a special certificate for the material because of traceability reasons. And in this case, it was a material from ceratizid, and yeah, within one day, all of the needed documents was transferred. So what I want to say is having or working with the market leaders helps not only by blank pricing, it helps as well in different ways.
I guess, Mark, before we leave the topic, the other thing you've mentioned recently is sometimes even the best quality providers, give you a lemon, so to speak. So I know in your case, you're doing chemical testing of the incoming blanks. So that's another thing that people should consider investing.
Yeah. In today's in today's carbide industry, which is very heated, we meanwhile experienced that even with the best suppliers, it could come to some trouble by supplies. And here we are ensuring this by our incoming goods control, which is not only up to the dimensions, we are as well checking the structure of the material today.
Right, and you had a recent case where we're not going to mention names, but it actually isn't what they said it was.
Yeah, no, this is a very, very important matter of today, because traceability matters really a lot, and the value chain of the materials, and yeah, our system allows to be in line with all the customer requirements, and yeah, this really needed today. Okay, Ed, do you want to tell the story about?
Dennis showed you this system in the tour. This happens to be the Premex tower with their 50 tons of carbide here. But the point is, you need a system for securely storing and tracking your carbide. And one reason for that is, I mean, you know how expensive it is, but the other problem with carbide is it's fungible. So we have a I'll call it a mid-sized customer who recently discovered, after figuring out why they couldn't make any money, that they had an employee that over the course of about a year stole about $200,000 worth of carbide to feed his drug habit. And they were able to track it down, find all the receipts where he had taken it to be recycled. He got about $17,000 for it, and they lost about $200,000. And even of the blanks they recovered at the end of this, the through coolant blanks, because the paperwork was gone, they were useless. So again, it's a fungible asset that you need to keep very tight control over. Hate to say it, but that's just the reality.
Before we came to the Q&As, our last topic is production planning, because here it's all about efficiency. Ed, you start with the first slide.
Well, this is your production system in which when you get a proposal, you're a central expert, if you will, and you have one or two guys that are in charge of this program. They project out based on their understanding of the job, their use of the simulation software with the grinders and so forth, how long that job would take and when it would fit in your production schedule. And you project that out within a week. So you advise the customer a week that you can make that delivery. And then assuming you get that job, it goes into pre-planning. And in the pre-planning stage, your experts look over the production schedule and they choose within a day or two when that job can start to process through. And depending on how complex the job, it could be everything that Dennis covered in the tour, which is to say, cut off, chamfering, centerless, etc., or just a subset of that. And then once you've established day deadlines for each department, the department gets to decide within an hour or two the order in which they're going to do their jobs. So this gets back to your well-trained operators who are in charge of their own domain and the quality control in that domain. And they decide within that day or two deadline how they're going to order jobs and get it done. So that's your production approach, and I think it's a good one. And we're laying that out as an example of how our customers could do it.
Yeah. To be honest, this is for sure something like our guideline in the planning, but it happens sometimes that customers ask for fast supplies, earlier lead time, and then we do our very best to convince them, but we try all the time to keep the line, to keep the guideline and this principle, because otherwise, with the amount of orders we have over the year, it would not be efficient finally.
Is that the third production hall that Dennis didn't show us? Where you get your special orders?
Yeah, yeah. Next slide is focus on jobs you can do profitably and outsource the rest. Step length grinding enables cost-efficient processes and frees resources for geometry grinding, even human resource. The key is to focus internally on jobs that match your machines perfectly by reducing setup times. All other jobs should be outsourced to maintain an optimal workflow. Mixing diameters has a huge impact on costs and therefore profit. Here in the example, you can see a perfect world with all orders are in the same diameter, which means just one setup and one setup time and one setup cost factor. The other example is the reality. You have not just one diameter, there are a lot of different shank sizes or diameter sizes given, and this increases setups, which brings a lot of time, wasting time and costs. Therefore, we recommend, as good as it possible, to combine your processes by diameter as a first and very important decision, and trying to outsource positions, diameters which are not fitting to your OD grinding shop internally. And even when you are working on the same diameter, it could be that other factors reduces your circle times. For example, for the grinding wheel, everybody, I guess everybody's aware that not all of the jobs can be done with the same grinding wheel, as the wheel loses his performance over the time as well. So this is another important factor of the planning, to see what kind of jobs I should do first or later, depending on the wheel, depending on the chuck and others. In case you were wondering if we know anything about scheduling, here you can see some factors, some figures out of our production in 2025. In my experience, I have to say the difference between cylindrical grinding or OD grinding and geometry grinding is started by the value chain and the costs for doing it. We're working on a geometry grinder is having a higher value finally, but most of our customers in special tooling does less jobs, and therefore they have less planning issues. In our case, it's more like a mass production, but with a mass on different different positions. We really do one-piece jobs and 1,000-piece jobs in all of the diameters, lengths, dimensions, whatever. And this in combination is it is a challenge to be finally efficient.
Right. In other words, you're mass production in the sense that you might have 100 6-millimeter blanks, but they could be from 80 different orders.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Q&A. So again, use the chat function. We're actually at an hour, so I don't think we can drag this out very long. But I've got a couple here to start with. Let's see. Let's at least do 5 minutes. Mark, I mentioned this earlier, but this issue of central coolant versus standalone coolant. Obviously, you made a choice to go to central coolant, central mist extractor. That's arguably an expense and arguably a risk, because if that system goes down, you know, you've got a lot of machines down. So talk us through again why you did that and how you combat the risk.
So yeah, first of all, why we decided to work with a central coolant system, it's finally up to several advantages. First is having the opportunity to put the machines on the floor as you want and according to the workflow, and not losing space for the cooling system with standalone variants, for instance. Then you have the advantage that the oil pressure on every and the temperature on every machine is similar, it's the same, which allows, next to other factors, to be very flexible in using or in choosing which machine you would like to do then for the next job. And you are absolutely right. There is a risk given with central devices, but in our case, we double secured the central coolant devices. So it means all critical and even the non-critical factors of a working filtration system are double secured.
Meaning what? Double pumps, double.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and by, for instance, in case of the pumps, it's not like one is never running or just starting the job when the other broke down. They work in a way parallel, like 80% and 20%. So that if it needs to use the new one or the other one, it works.
Right. You're not finding out at the last minute it doesn't work.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and then you have a problem. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Another question that came up: how would you cover wheel dressing? You didn't address that in the shop floor.
Yeah, we use let's say we use a conservative traditional way of wheel dressing, especially for the surface grinding wheels, and then we use EDM for 2 years, mainly for the roughing grinding wheels, with brilliant results. So definitely this is a recommendation to have a look on EDM of for grinding wheels. Yeah.
Interesting. What getting back to coolant, Which standalone coolant system would you recommend for OD machines?
Standalone.
Yeah.
So here it's like with many things in our market, there are 3, 4, 5 very good companies given, and finally it's up to details and it's up to each customer requirement. So what I can say is working with Knoll or Vomart is pretty good. We made good experience, but same time Transor is a well-known company in the market, and to be honest, I do not know if there is any other company, well-known company in the US given.
Well, EBCO is a big one here, but I don't think they do much in Europe.
Yeah, but Knoll is definitely a global player, and they are really, really professional.
Okay, I see some people are leaving because we've gone over an hour and they need to get back to work. But so we probably need to wrap this up. I will say that you can enter a question in the chat function even after the webinar is concluded. You know, you folks have the link. You can go in and you can add a question to the chat, and we can address it thereafter, or you can simply contact me directly.
James sent a question. I can shortly answer.
He says EDM for roughing, not finishing so much, he says.
Yeah, correctly. We use the EDM mainly for the roughing wheels because by EDM, the wheel, you do not work on the diamond. That's why the grinding wheel is very, very aggressive and do not bring a comparable surface as it is the case when you work on traditional machines, diamond against diamond. Plus, we use the machine for special applications like grinding OD threads. I mean, when I need a special form on the wheel, it's always we always use the EDM machine.
Okay, Dennis, last slide, which is thanks to everyone. So thanks for attending. Thanks for the good questions and your attention. As I said, we've posted upcoming webinars and a section on training and a bunch of other tool grinding resources on that web page, I should say, you see listed here, toolroom.solutions/resources. The next webinar we have in the schedule is on wheel dressing, funny enough, at the end of April. We might sneak in one between now and then, but that's what's on the schedule. So again, thanks so much. I will have a recording, knock on wood, if the technology worked. And you folks can see that or tell your colleagues, and we'll go from there. All righty. Thanks, everyone.